I was an FBI agent for 20 years. I do not put anything in text, email that could be misconstrued exactly like you said, with a different tone of voice, with a different, or anything. I don't put opinions when I conduct my investigations here on the private side. I don't put opinions. I don't put anything. I say, let's have a phone call.
ICE obtains access to Israeli-made spyware that can hack phones and encrypted apps. The Trump administration has reactivated a $2 million contract giving ICE access to Graphite, a powerful spyware from Israeli-founded Paragon Solutions that can infiltrate phones, read encrypted apps like WhatsApp and Signal, and even activate microphones. Originally signed under Biden but paused for review, the deal has raised alarm among civil liberties advocates. Critics warn that such tools, previously abused by authoritarian regimes against journalists and activists, pose serious risk to the democratic freedoms and national security. The question is, if spyware like this has already been abused by authoritarian regimes, what safeguards do you think would need to be in place to make sure the U.S. doesn't repeat those same mistakes? And again, I'm not a legal scholar. I understand, the Fourth and Fifth Amendment, how that ties in, unreasonable search and seizure. There are things that law enforcement can do with a warrant, without a warrant. If you're going to go to a questioning level, you need to be Mirandized, things of that nature. This is, it gets a little bit interesting because we're talking about, devices that people may have on them. I don't know where that line is for the Fourth Amendment.
Well, and that's, for me, again, what you just said, it seems to be the topic of the day, the line. What is the line? And I would hope if this was during the Biden administration that it came up. I never got to hear about this program. I obviously knew other systems that I worked with. I would hope that you would have to obtain, federal, authorization, search warrant, going to a judge and showing them why you've exhausted all other efforts before going to this point. And that's, when I did a Title III wiretap on a subject, you never went straight to the wiretap. You always had to show the judge, hey, listen, I did this, I did this, I did this. This is the last, this is one of the most intrusive ways to obtain evidence. But I have to show that phone is being used for criminal activity.
Yeah. Now, and it's supposed to be that arduous. That's supposed to protect the citizens' rights.
Correct. And that's the way it's always been. Yeah. Have systems been abused? Yes. Is it been abused in authoritarian regimes? Yes. Are we there? No, I don't believe we're there. So hopefully this goes through court systems to go for this. I hope that it's not given to just every ICE office around the country and saying, okay, go ahead, use it. When you have to find a guy and, all right, here's our target. Okay, turn on his phone. Hopefully it's not that.
That's crossing some lines.
Right. And again, the line, where is the line? And just giving this and just saying, hey, because, for the way I've been seeing it is for ICE ERO, when they've been conducting vehicle stops, you have to have, a traditional law enforcement officer has to have probable cause to conduct a vehicle stop. He ran a red light, etc. Now they're seeing somebody in their vehicle that's a target, may not have an arrest warrant, but that's the individual that they're targeting. They're stopping the vehicle. They don't need the probable cause to access the vehicle, whereas law enforcement does. So again, there lies the question is, where is the line? Will ICE ERO go, okay, we know, target X is going to be at work this afternoon. Let's turn on his phone so we can listen to him if he's going to move to another location. Mm-hmm. So there is still more to discussion. As a case agent, I would have loved to have something like this that I could use, especially when reading, the encrypted apps, WhatsApp. We never could get the content of WhatsApp. We could only see when they communicated and who they communicated to. You never could see the content. But there's also
as secure as the platforms say. I often wonder, because those encrypted platforms will say, unbreakable, talk about whatever you want. To be honest, even I use Signal with people who really want to use Signal. I talk about absolutely zero things that would be sensitive in any nature.
Yep.
But they want to. Yeah, and they want to talk on Signal, but I still even act on those platforms. I just assume at any given time, somebody's going to be able to read it. And what would this sound like if it was a neutral tone of voice, a court reporter reading this text? How much of a douchebag am I going to sound like when somebody reads that in a court of law?
Right. I still run the, under the mental state, I was an FBI agent for 20 years. So I do not put anything in text, email that could be misconstrued exactly like you said, with a different tone of voice, with a different, or anything. I don't put opinions when I conduct my investigations here on the private side, I don't put opinions. I don't put anything. I say, let's have a phone call. And I want to verbally tell them what it is. Yeah, it was end to end encrypted. So we couldn't see it. Obviously there is new technology out since I've been out, and now 2 years that, they can read the content, and hopefully it's used correctly. And hopefully that line doesn't get crossed, but the line has been moved. And that's the thing that's concerning me. The line has been moved, but with new technology, new things, the line should be moved. The line should get moved for law enforcement to be able to use, all their tools appropriately.
Everybody, let's be real with each other for a second. Most doctors do not care about optimization. They do care about you, but they're checking your basic labs. They tell you that everything is looking normal, and they're going to send you on your way. Meanwhile, you're feeling tired, your performance is slipping, and you know that something is off, and that is where Merrick Health comes in. Merrick Health isn't your typical doctor's office. They're a next-level health optimization platform that actually listens to you, runs advanced lab testing, and helps you optimize your hormones, your metabolism, and your overall performance. So whether you're looking to boost your energy, maybe gain some muscle mass, or you just feel like you're not your best self anymore and you want to change that, Merrick gives you those tools and can help you make it happen. You have two options. You can go with their guided optimization program and get a dedicated health coach and medical provider to help you with supplements and prescription treatments. Or if you're more of a do-it-yourself type of person, you can order self-service lab tests and take control of your health on your own terms. The best part is, either option that you pick, you can get 10% off of your order right now. Just go to merrickhealth.com and use the code FOCALPOINT at checkout. That's M-A-R-E-K health.com with the code FOCALPOINT for 10% off.
Yeah, because what doesn't come out with this release of information is basically the 5 Ws. How would they use this? I mean, how would you know which device to target? Because I guess rolling somebody up and you find a device in their car. I mean, would this allow them to, access previous and going forward once they've identified that? Maybe you know what I mean? And again, tech to me, I understand it at a peripheral level, but is this going to be, passively? How are they going to identify how they're going to use it? Where are they going to use it? All of those things. It doesn't really say, nor does it really describe the legal backstop that's going to be used in place and what authorities that they would need, or permissions, I should say, to use that against citizens and non-citizens. So it's tough to articulate an exact answer. I'm glad in some respects that tools like this exist, but I'm also terrified that tools like this exist as well, because we're not in an authoritarian state. We're not in a place like North Korea or China where, information is censored and people legitimately might get disappeared. But we're also just people. And even inside of these law enforcement agencies or even state, local, federal agencies, I mean, you get an individual that has access to something like this with a wild hair up their ass. Yes, they can absolutely be misused.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And there's definitely concern. There definitely need to be guardrails set up that it's not abused by anybody. I mean, whether it be ICE, FBI, because, this article states that it's for ICE, but I guarantee you there's FBI agents going, hey, can we get a copy of that? And then
also, isn't there a lot of, sometimes there's going to be overlap, right? You might have DEA, ICE, FBI, state law enforcement, local law enforcement. It's not like these people are out there individually operating in silos.
No.
I mean, at times they are for sure, but there's immense Venn diagram overlap.
So a lot of my code case on a lot of my MS-13 for years was an ICE ERO deportation officer, because he was a TFO loaned out to the FBI in Newark. So for years, he and I worked MS-13 cases exactly like that, because he would look at the immigration status and we possibly would flip them, against the crew. The problem is now that 100% of ICE ERO are all doing deportations. So they are not doing any work with the FBI right now. And there's nothing on the foreseeable future, because they're 100% of the time doing deportations and captures, and including a lot of FBI agents are being loaned out to ICRO. And then you see what's happening in DC and now Chicago and LA. So there isn't a lot of the intermingling like there was, during my years that you're saying. But I could see, like, for example, like my TFO, for him having experienced that database calling over to me saying, hey, you really should take a look at this and see if I could use it in one of my investigations. It would have been I would have been all over this.
Yeah, it's equally awesome and terrifying to me. But again, what you can explain to yourself, or it's, you can say, well, I don't ever talk about anything that's sensitive, so why would I care? It's still an invasion of privacy if misused properly. And I think, honestly, one of the worst things that ever happened to the privacy of citizens was the Patriot Act. Great name, but certainly stripped away a lot of things that people probably don't realize. And you never get it back once it's gone,
right?
Is the issue that I have.
Yeah, no, it's a slippery slope. We can do this now, and then what's next is, we turn on the microphone, like you said, as the article states, we could turn on the microphone remotely and listen to them. At what point do we do that? Whereas, so when you're doing a Title III wiretap, you are listening to the phone call, but you have to stop the phone call if it's not criminally related. And I believe it was, you had 2 minutes to listen to the call. So if the call was started and it was, a wife, pastor, or doctor, you had to shut it down immediately. If it wasn't one of those three, you were allowed to listen to the 2-minute mark. And if they weren't talking about criminal related matters, you had to shut it down. And then you could do spot checks over the course while the call was still being done to see, are they talking about criminal? No. Okay. Shut it down. So you had to call minimization. So you had to minimize the phone calls. Do we have to minimize these when we open the microphone? Are we listening to pastors? Are we listening to, if they're with their doctor's appointment, are we listening to this? Is there minimization? Do we have to, okay, they're not talking about criminal. What is the purpose of opening the microphone? So that, again, minimization, all those questions. There's lots of questions that go into the legal question. Okay, the tool is great, but where is it influencing? What is it affecting our civil rights?
And again, like you said, topic of the day, where is the line? I'm not smart enough to have those answers. I just am sitting back, kind of watching the line move around a little bit. And I'm not sure if that's good or bad.
It's good and bad. It's both directions.
Two things can be true at once. Yeah.
Yeah. It's both good and bad.